So in today's video, I'd like to talk about when people are traveling to Japan, how easy it is for them to buy or sell cards. Now, when it comes to buying cards, this is, as you would expect, pretty easy. I mean, don't really need much Japanese at all, or if any. There can be a little bit of confusion on how some of the shops rate the cards. Some shops have a system where they have like a white ticket and it will say a number from 1 to 10, 10 being mint condition, perfect condition, 1 being the worst condition. Or they have a yellow ticket on it instead of a white ticket, which means it's damaged. Or they have on the white ticket the little word, it will say something like kiji, which means like kind of scratched or damaged. But other than that, it's not that complicated. It's not rocket science or anything like that, so you shouldn't have too much trouble. However, when it comes to selling your cards, it's a completely different story. Now, there are a number of rules and laws in Japan. One is, in Japan, to have a card shop or to sell second-hand items, you need a secondary seller's license, which is a second-hand seller's license, and it comes in 13 categories. So when you apply, you choose the categories of items you wish to sell, and then you can get the license. Now, the license needs to be attached to your physical location or to your web page. It can be attached to a corporation or an individual, but once it's attached to whichever, it has to stay with that, or you have to reapply. And you have to do that through the police station, and you have to do a number of different paperwork and stuff to get that actually achieved. Therefore, shops are very, very stringent on how they follow the regulations of buying items from the general public. Now, it is my understanding that the reason for this secondary seller's license is to regulate stolen goods and sort of like complaints from customers for fake goods or this kind of thing for buying as well as selling, because obviously where you bought them from, they have the license attached to that location, so you have some kind of more kind of like guarantee or feeling of protection from that. Now, therefore, I would have said 99%, but now I would say somewhere around about 95% of shops will only accept people selling items to them which are residents of Japan, which can show a Japanese address with Japanese ID. There, you can then sell them items to the shop and they can buy them off of you. And they take your details, you fill a form out, you either pre-register online or you fill a form out on the day and get that done. I pre-register online and get that all done, and I normally get my wife to fill out the forms because it's 10 times faster than if I do it. And then once I'm registered, I just show them my kind of like QR code, and then they just scan that, and then whatever I've bought, they add that to the sheet and print it out, and I sign it, and they take my ID, take the number of the ID, and then they're good to go. There are a few shops which will buy from foreigners if you have your passport. For example, I would say in Akihabara I know probably about 200 shops, and out of those 200 shops I know about 5 which will allow foreigners to buy and sell cards. Now, the good thing is some cards which are from overseas sell at higher prices here. Therefore, it can be quite interesting. So if you've got something like a Van Gogh Pikachu or something like that, you might get a better price selling it into the Japanese market than you would if you sold it online in Europe with thousands of copies that are online. The downside is, if you do find a shop that will buy either graded cards or single cards, they're very, very stringent on the condition of the card or the slab. And also, you have to imagine, for like as a resident of Japan, I can go to 200 shops and I can sell to them. If they're a shop that buys in, I can sell to them because I'm a resident of Japan, having a Japanese address, and I can do that. However, you will only have a choice of, say, 5 shops. And because of that, they know you only have a choice of 5 shops, so they can regulate the price as well. You might not get the best prices which are available, and I can pretty much tell you for single cards, you will definitely not get the best prices. A couple of shops that I know for which buy in graded cards, their prices are pretty solid. I'm talking sort of like 90, 85, 90% of market price, which is pretty good. And like I said, on some foreign cards, which, you know, they're happy to take in. I mean, obviously they decide what they want or they don't want, but on some foreign cards, the prices here are better than in Europe or America. So something to bear in mind, but don't expect that you can just walk into any card shop and say, hey, I want to sell, you know, all of these singles, or I want to sell all of these graded cards, because it's not going to happen. And it's not because they don't want to be nice to you on the day or something like that. It's because they are regulated not to be allowed to let you take in those cards under their license agreement with the local police station, basically. So it's interesting that a few shops can do that. I don't know exactly why a few shops can do that and the others don't. I don't really want to comment on that. I'm not sure of the finer details behind that. But yeah, there are a few shops in Tokyo, and I know a few in Osaka and also in Kyoto. But yeah, it's very, very limited. So bear that in mind. If you come with like a binder or something and you want to get rid of cards, it's not going to be easy, and you will not be able to shop around for prices. So yeah, think about that very carefully. Or go with someone who lives here in Japan. If you want to sell cards to the shop, they can use their registration. If they're happy to help you out on that, that's something that might be possible for you to do as well. So that's just a little bit of insight, because I get that question quite often from followers on my Instagram channel. And I just thought, yeah, it's something which is really obvious to me, because I've been here like, you know, over 20 years, and I've been collecting for a very long time. But for a number of tourists to come to Japan to bring cards to sell, they're very kind of confused why they can't do that. So that's kind of the rationale behind that. And if anyone has any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. And if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, please do so. It's Han_JA55. So thank you very much, and bye from Tokyo.